is Valley News Live at 4.
We're following some breaking news for you this afternoon. Fargo police are asking for help finding a missing 16-year-old. Police say Tobias Jamal Walker was last seen at his home in Fargo on June 28th. Tobias is about 6'3", 175 pounds, and is described as black and Native American with black hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact the Red River Regional Dispatch Center, 701-451-7660. More breaking news just into our newsroom. A 17-year-old girl is dead after crashing an off-road vehicle in Nelson County. That happened overnight in Tolna, North Dakota on 29th Street Northeast. Highway Patrol says the girl from Arizona wasn't wearing a helmet when she flipped a Polaris Ranger. She was ejected and pronounced dead on the scene. Her name will not be released. Happening right now, live in Moorhead, a project 20 years in the making comes to fruition after 4 years of construction. You're looking live there as the city of Moorhead is celebrating their new railroad underpass that's set to open this Friday. The underpass allows for safer traffic through Southeast Main, 20th and 21st Streets. The ribbon cutting ceremony will include live music and food. You still have time to get out there and celebrate. It all goes until 7 tonight with parking available at Moorhead High School. We'll have more on this story for you tonight on Valley News Live at 10. New information for you now. We now know the names of the 3 people killed in a crash along I-94 in Moorhead last Friday. Minnesota State Patrol confirmed Linda Marie Carell, Robert Charles Carell, and Shirley Ann Gatsky were in the SUV involved in that crash. It happened this past Friday around 2 o'clock between the exits to Main Street and 34th Street. Highway Patrol says the SUV came to a stop behind a semi before being hit by a truck and pushed into the semi. While there are currently no charges filed, the investigation is ongoing. In response to that crash, the Minnesota Department of Transportation is making some changes to the area. We'll bring you much more on that tonight on Valley News Live at 6. To the forecast, it's a hot one out there. Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joins us now with what you need to know before heading outside. Hutch?
Stacey, thanks so much. Dangerous heat and humidity combining to create heat indices or feels like temperatures that are very dangerous, as a matter of fact. And the heat is on here in the FM area as we look at our Luther family forward view. A few high clouds out there, but it's so hot and humid. It's like swimming through the air. Right now, 97 in Sisseton. Look at the triple-digit heat in Pierre. 106 the air temperature there, and 99 in Oaks this hour. It is a little cooler in central Minnesota. We had some morning thunderstorms cool things off. Dew point readings right now are in the 80s for a few locations, which leads some credence to those readings since we're seeing them at multiple locations. That said, when dew points get that high, heat indices get ridiculous. We've seen them over 120 up in that Langdon area, but suffice it to say, triple-digit heat indices are dangerous. The body has a hard time cooling, so make sure you're staying hydrated. If you start feeling some of those symptoms of heat-related stress, first thing you may notice are those cognitive symptoms. So the dizziness and the faintness. Cool off with AC or maybe even running through the sprinkler. But the more serious conditions, as our core temperature approaches 104, loss of consciousness, slurred speech, an ice bath is the best thing to cool that body down fast. Now, not only do we have the heat, we have the risk of severe weather, greatest in the yellow and orange for tonight. I'll have hour-by-hour details. The storm risks will be all severe thunderstorm modes. That's wind, hail, and isolated tornadoes. I'll have the latest on what we're seeing here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks so much, Hutch. And we aren't the only ones with a heat advisory. Britain is tackling their very first extreme heat warning. Large parts of England are undergoing abnormally hot and dry weather patterns, which have disrupted travel, healthcare, and schools. Temperatures are estimated to reach 104 degrees for the first time ever. That's roughly 30 degrees above the average for that area. Scientists say it's all part of climate change caused by human activity. New for you now at 4, one man is in jail after leading deputies on a chase through the Red River Valley Fair parking lot, ultimately crashing into another vehicle that started on fire. 32-year-old Matthew Garcia of Amarillo, Texas, was arrested for multiple charges, including reckless endangerment and fleeing. Police say around 11:30 Friday night, they were called to the Red River Valley Fair parking lot for a report of a reckless driver. Deputies say Garcia hit another vehicle at the intersection of Cheyenne Street and Main Avenue, trapping a passenger inside. That vehicle then caught fire. Police say Garcia ran from the scene but was caught a short time later. The passenger in the car fire was able to get out. Police say more charges are possible against Garcia. Also new for you at 4, 2 overpass bridges have been damaged after a piece of farming equipment hit them. It happened around 10 this morning on Highway 2 near mile marker 355 in Grand Forks. Authorities say 45-year-old Christopher Anderson of Carlstead, Minnesota, was driving a Kenworth pulling a chisel plow when it hit the overpass as it traveled underneath. Anderson is facing charges of operating without an oversized permit and violating height restrictions. North Dakota animal health officials are ending a ban on poultry events, but the state fair says it's too late. Back in March, the board canceled all shows, public sales, and exhibitions of poultry within the state to help stem the spread of bird flu. Just last month, the board extended that ban indefinitely. Now, the board has lifted the ban, but organizers of the state fair, which begins Friday, say they don't have enough time to arrange for poultry shows this year. A jury will soon determine if confessed Parkland school shooter Nicholas Cruz will be sentenced to death. Last October, Cruz pleaded guilty to the murders of 14 students and 3 staff members. He also pleaded guilty to 17 counts of attempted murder. The jury will decide whether Cruz receives a sentence of life in prison without parole or death by lethal injection. They must be unanimous for Cruz to get the death penalty. A mall in Indiana is the scene of the latest mass shooting in the U.S. Police say a man armed with a rifle opened fire inside the food court of the Greenwood Park Mall yesterday before he was shot dead by a civilian who was legally carrying a handgun. 3 were killed, 2 others hurt before a bystander with a handgun shot the gunman. Officials say the injured include a 12-year-old girl. She and the other shooting survivor were hospitalized in stable condition last night. Investigators are still working to develop a motive.
There's violence everywhere you turn and look around. It feels like you're not safe anywhere.
In other news, Dr. Anthony Fauci says it's time to take monkeypox seriously, while others warn the spread of the virus is likely higher than we know. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
States across the country are struggling to get the monkeypox vaccine as cases are on the rise. The CDC reports more than 1,800 so far, reaching nearly every state.
We've gotten just over 8,000 doses. We estimate that we need about 100,000 doses to address the current target population.
Former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb warned on CBS's Face the Nation that it may be too late to get control of the outbreak.
We made a lot of the same mistakes that we made with COVID with this, having a very narrow case definition, not having enough testing early enough, not deploying vaccine in an aggressive fashion to ring vaccinate. But now this is firmly embedded in the community.
While there's been criticism of the federal response, local officials say they're using lessons learned from the coronavirus pandemic.
We already have a very robust testing regime, and we've modeled it on what we were able to do with COVID, and we're going to continue to test. And I think because of that robust testing, we're going to see more cases.
Monkeypox spreads mainly through skin-on-skin contact. Symptoms include fever, body aches, chills, and fatigue. Many who have been infected develop painful lesions on their body. There are no reported deaths in the U.S., but federal health officials say they believe the number of confirmed cases have likely been undercounted, with the actual scope and spread unknown at this point. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Most people who get the virus tend to heal within 2 to 4 weeks with no long-term effects. The national average price of gas is on a steady decline, falling for the 5th week in a row. According to Gas Buddy, the national average is now $4.52. That's down 15 cents from a week ago. According to AAA, the national price of gas in North Dakota is $4.48, in Minnesota $4.49. One expert says the trend will continue for a 6th week in a row and through mid-August if there are no major hurricanes, outages, or unexpected disruptions. We want to remind you about plans for an active shooter training in South Moorhead this week. It started today. It'll go through Wednesday at Horizon Middle School. You might hear simulated gunfire from the building. Ridgewood Boulevard between 36th and 40th Street South will be closed to traffic each day from 8 to 5. Happening right now, you can pick up free groceries courtesy of West Fargo Eats. That's going on until 5:30 tonight at Lutheran Church of the Cross in West Fargo. Anyone in need of food assistance is welcome. At their last pop-up, they say despite blistering heat, they served 197 families and more than 560 individuals. Well, as we get ready for a new school year, some parents are demanding that more books be taken out of the curriculum.
And temperatures kissing the triple-digit values right here in the Valley Oaks. Right now you are 99 degrees. The heat is on. Big-time changes coming our way. A chance of severe storms tonight and again tomorrow. First alert weather days for both. Details are coming up next.